Dear Michelle, my wonderful Aunt Lily passed away a few years ago. She had lived a century. Her grandfather had been a slave on the burnt quarter plantation in Virginia. For more than 40 years, she worked at a bakery in the Miller and Rhodes department store in Richmond, Virginia. When I was a child, she made many visits to my home in Baltimore, Maryland. Whenever my family fell on hard times, and it was often, my mother would send for Aunt Lily. She would always come. We would meet her at the Greyhound bus station. She never traveled light. She had several plaid suitcases with leather buckles tied together with assorted straps to secure the contents. Filled to bursting, the suitcases had apples and pears from Aunt Lily's front yard in Virginia. She also had a smoked shoulder of pork wrapped in paper and placed inside a burlap bag. This was the prized possession. Aunt Lily had come to feed a hungry family in Baltimore. She was always right on time. We couldn't wait to get her to the house. As she climbed the rickety front steps to 1641 Barnes Street, around the corner from the Johns Hopkins Medical School, she called out for the children to get the paring knives to peel the apples and pears. She called for the big pots to boil the water for the old Blue Bell canning jars with the pinkish rubber O-rings. When Aunt Lily pulled out her white canvas apron, we knew we would have tasty treats for the winter. Perched on the edge of a not-so-steady chair or an old cola aluminum tub turned upside down, Aunt Lily would hoist up her dress a bit and place an empty pot between her legs. She had no shame that her heavy nylons, knotted at the knees, were exposed. When the children laughed about her stockings, she said, "I'm not here for a fashion show." With near lightning speed, Aunt Lily began peeling apples and pears, and in no time at all they were dropping like flies into the pot between her legs. Talking fast while peeling, Aunt Lily told stories of the bitter segregation in the South. I had felt it firsthand. I was with Aunt Lily on summer vacation when a white bus driver told us to get up from our seats. We weren't far enough behind the white line that divided black from white. He said we could not have two seats, even though I was too big to sit on her lap. He demanded that we go to the back and stand. Aunt Lily refused. Egged on by other white passengers, the driver came to our seats and threatened to throw us from the bus. Aunt Lily never budged. He shouted obscenities. Aunt Lily shouted back. "I've been baking pies and cakes for white folks to eat all morning. I'll be washing your pissy bed sheets tonight. And right now we're going to be sitting in your white seats till we get off." With my heart racing and fear nearly choking me, Aunt Lily turned my head to the window. We rode home, silent but seated. Hours later, and still in her traveling hat, Aunt Lily had the apples and pears ready to be preserved. We were comforted by the smell of allspice, cinnamon, cloves, and sugar, and with the sight of Aunt Lily putting the big pot on the wood-burning stove, we all settled down. Aunt Lily was back in town. She was our second mother. With the preserves bubbling and thickening on the stove and the ball jars ready for filling, Aunt Lily took the wrappings from the smoked pork. Slicing the meat like it was gold leaf, Aunt Lily showed us how to make it last for the winter. When I learned that your mother, Michelle, might join you in the White House to care for your girls and support you in this awesome job, I was ecstatic. Young people can always use a second mother. It reminded me of my Aunt Lily coming to support my mother during difficult times. As First Lady, you will definitely be in an exhilarating but difficult time. I'm writing this letter for my Aunt Lily. She didn't get a lot of schooling, but she gave a lot of love. She knew how to be a second mother. If my Aunt Lily were alive today, she would tell you not to let anyone push you around, and make sure you take care of your babies. While your mom doesn't have to bring apples or pears in old suitcases to the White House, I know she will be toting bushels of love for your entire family. This is written for my Aunt Lily. Warmly, Peggy Brooks-Bertram.